Being poor in America, the less you have, the more you'll wind up paying for some of the conveniences many of us take for granted. In tonight's Primetime 4 report, Linda Huang shows us what's bad for one segment of our society can be very good for another.
On the floor monitor TV, I have 2 months left, and it's $102 a month.
At Satonia Smith's house, there'd be nothing for the kids to watch, no music to listen to, and no way to keep cool. If it weren't for a growing $4 billion industry called rent-to-own.
This is the rental agreement for the stereo. It's $98.95 a month.
That's how Satonia will come to own nearly every major piece of furniture in her house. She tried to get long-term financing through a regular department store, but was rejected because she was still paying off school loans. She works as a nurse's aide at 2 different adult daycare centers, and yet
I just manage from paycheck to paycheck.
Because more than half of her paycheck will end up in places like this. Action is one of the more reputable rent-to-own businesses in Texas. The vice president says that's mainly because his company knows what customers want.
They like the convenience of being able to come in and get something that day, and they don't have to go through a verification process. They don't have to wait.
So quite possibly for about $20 down, you can walk out with a brand new big screen TV. No hassles with credit and fast, convenient service. Of course, there is a payoff. $200 a month for 24 months. So that would be
$4,800.
$4,800 for a TV you could easily get for about $2,200 at a regular retail store. Matthew says that's certainly been no secret to their customers.
They would know that if they went down to a discount place, they could certainly pay cash and buy it cheaper, but they're buying service, they're buying convenience, they're buying short-term, no obligation rental.
Satonia says she knows she's paying more, and yet she's grateful for rent-to-own. With little or no money to save at the end of each month, she cannot open a bank account. So when she needed an extra $30 to help pay her light bill, she went to the only lending institution she knew of in her neighborhood.
Every once in a while, I have to fund something to maybe help pay on a bill.
What is the interest on this?
Usually 20%.
That's 20% a month, meaning Texas law allows pawn shops to charge up to 240% interest a year on its loans. Had Satonia been able to get a small loan through a regular bank, the most interest they charge her on an annual rate is about 13%. And without a bank account, the only other place to cash a paycheck is at a check cash center, and they will charge you 1.5% to do it. These attorneys say it's a rotten system that needs sweeping changes.
Good morning, you're on Law for the People. Thanks for calling in, and you're on the air.
So every Friday morning from 8 to 9, they offer free legal advice to the financially down and out.
At least call the Better Business Bureau and ask for the number of complaints they have on that company.
They all realize that offering this kind of help is about the slowest way to bring about changes in the system. But they say for now, this seems to be the only way.
Congress has had numerous opportunities to require banks as part of their service to the community to offer either free or very low-cost checking accounts to low-income people. Congress has repeatedly failed to do that. They've chosen not to because bankers have more influence with Congress than poor people do.
Legal Services of Texas says the poor get the same exact treatment here in Austin.
There's been bills introduced on all of these areas at some point or another, and they just get summarily lost in committee.
That's why 7 years back, John Fullenwider took it upon himself to make some changes. Common Ground is a small credit union that moved into a part of Dallas where no other bank dared to do business. They didn't come to make money, but rather to give its low-income customers a lending hand.
If you don't have access to credit in America, you don't have any chance of getting any piece of this country. You just really don't.
Brenda Flanagan says it was the only bank that took a risk and gave her the chance to get out of debt from rental agreements and pawn loans.
I obtained the loan. I paid off a couple of little bills that I had to pay. The rest I obtained, I left in the bank, and it paid itself off.
Common Ground took a risk by moving into this community, and the community paid back the favor by making it one of the most successful lending institutions in the country with a payback rate of 98.5%. Fullenwider says it's going to take a lot more ventures like Common Ground to break some Dallas neighborhoods out of the poverty cycle. and give low-income parents and their children a chance to save a little for the future while still being able to make a decent living in the meantime.
That's good.
Linda Huang, News 4 Texas.
In order to qualify for a loan from Common Ground Credit Union, you should have a good payment history with rent-to-own programs. If you do, the credit union will probably have no trouble doing business with you. Tomorrow's Primetime 4 report goes back 50 years.